Hello, guys. Welcome back. All right, so we are going to continue our lecture about the digestive system. All right, let me share my screen. Where is that? Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Share here. All right, so we went through almost half of the entire digestive system. And just very quickly overview what we have went through. So here is the entire digestive system. So it's also called digestive tract. So in our body, we call it system. Sometimes we also call it tract, is because they all connected one after the other. So the entire thing is very much like a sequential thing. So you can call it a system or you can call it a tract. And so here we went through the all the way from the mouth and then stomach. And then the next thing that we are going to touch on is the small intestine. So small intestine at this point, all this food has become very smooshy. Um, and carbohydrates are uh, predominantly digested by our mouth. And so we have a lot of like disaccharide. It's not totally monosaccharide yet, but it become disaccharide. And then proteins are primarily or heavily digested by our stomach. The acidic environment make it denaturalized. So we have the linear structure again. And then enzyme, the stomach enzyme will break it apart to make it uh, to break it apart. It will be very much almost mono monomer. The monomer of protein is amino acid, but it's not that yet. So we have this uh, very small molecule, but it's not monomer yet. It has to become monomer before being absorbed by our small intestine. So we still have work to do. We need to cut it further down. And that's gonna be done in the very early segments of the small intestine. So that's what we are going to talk about. So here is the small intestine. So here is the small intestine. It connect the pyloric uh, sphincter. Let me show you here. So here is the pyloric valve or pyloric sphincter of the stomach. So this one closed and it just open a little bit. So the stomach stuff can come in through just a little bit at a time. And it's pretty long. This small intestine plus large, so these whole thing are continuous. The small intestine and the large intestine are pretty long. Um, and so that's the small intestine. You can see here that small intestine here it show you three different colors, indicate that small intestine can be divided into three portions. So the very first portion is called duodenum. Duodenum. So this is a beginning one. The unique part about duodenum is that it plays quite heavy role in digestion. And so here when food coming down here, it's pretty small, but it's not monomer yet. And duodenum need to cut it further to become monomer. And the following it, so this is not very long segments for the small intestine. And very quickly, it will connect to the jejunum. So that's the second segment of the small intestine, jejunum. So jejunum is one that all these turns and the tubes are mainly for absorption. So now we have these monomers, they will get absorbed. So things will keep on pushing forward and they will gradually get absorbed by our body. So that's that. And then following it is ileum, I-L-E-U-M. So in our bone, we have ileum, I-U-M. Both sounds exactly the same. It's just pronunciation are different. So here, ileum is the third segment of the small intestine. And here, again, most of these segments are for nutrition absorption. So from here on, things will coming from this tubule and they get absorbed into our body. They have to become monomer before being absorbed. Otherwise, they will stay here, they will get pushed. Our body cannot digest everything. Um, like dietary fibers, we don't have the enzyme. You can chew on it, you can break it down, but we don't have the enzyme to break it into the monomer level, and they will stay here. They will keep on uh moving forward, and they will come into the large intestine, and then those which is not getting absorbed will then forming feces, then we poop it out. So that is basically the last portion, the last the last organs that process our food. Um, so before that is very much just digestion. After this one is very much like absorption. Most of them are the absorption process. So that's that. So what you need to know here is we have three segments: duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum. Their function is a lot of their function is to absorb our nutrition. So that's the small intestine. Now, duodenum, the very first one, is important to digest the last piece of our food, and this work is not solely done by duodenum. Duodenum has has connection to two other organs. They are pancreas. So duodenum connects to the pancreas and gallbladder. And so pancreas will inject pancreatic enzyme into duodenum. Gallbladder will inject the bile to the duodenum. And so these two additional um, um, substrate will help the duodenum to digest the food. Yeah, so let's take a look. So here is the connection that I mentioned earlier. So here is the stomach from the esophagus to the stomach. Here is the this one is the pyloric valve or pylorus, and then enter into the small intestine. So very quickly in duodenum, you see here you have an opening. This opening is called ampulla of Vater. And this ampulla of Vater has two is connected to organs. One, you can follow this grinding. One is going into the gallbladder. So that's one thing. Gallbladder, it doesn't produce, it secrete. It's produced by the liver. Liver produce the bile. Bile stored in gallbladder. Gallbladder is just release those through this duct, through this bile duct, release those bile into the duodenum. So that's that. So you can see that continuously they drip it into the duodenum. And another thing connect to this duodenum is pancreas. So you can see this duct here. So this duct is called pancreatic duct. So you have two ducts. The other duct is pancreatic duct. This pancreatic duct will transport pancreatic enzyme from the pancreas into the duodenum. So here in this location, you can kind of see that it's continuously dripping stuff from two organs. So the major function here in the duodenum is to do the final digestion. Everything is already pretty small, but it has to be monomer. And so here you have the gallbladder to release bile. You have the pancreas to release pancreatic enzyme. So they help to digest the nutrition. So pancreas right here is located right behind your stomach, and it has two major role. It has two major role. One is to produce this digestive enzyme for digestion. Pancreas is also known to release insulin, to release glucagon into the blood circulation to help your body to control your blood glucose level. And so it has these two major functions. And the one that we are focusing right now is not insulin, which is important because insulin is associated with the diabetes mellitus. But we're not focusing on that. We are focusing on another feature of the pancreas, which is helping us to digest food. So a lot of these enzymes are pretty powerful. They are released into the small intestine right here. Food coming down from the stomach. And so this is perfect location where enzyme can work on these molecules to break them apart, to break them down into monomer. So let me go back to this picture, metabolic. Go back to the very earlier picture. So this is our last lecture. Here you can see that all this food in your mouth, you chop it to become species. In your small in your mouth, your salivary enzyme break it apart, break the carbohydrates apart. It's not totally monomer yet. Your stomach break proteins apart. It's not totally monomer yet. Your fat keep on moving. It's not totally digested yet. And so right here, these will be finalized in the small intestine by pancreatic enzyme. So right here, I think you can see the same thing here. Small intestine coming in, pancreas coming in, gallbladder, bile coming in. Yeah, so that's that. So that's the pancreas. That's pancreas. All right. Quick question can be that which portion in our digestive system where pancreas release their enzyme into, where in our digestive system that pancreas release their enzyme into? And the answer is all our digestive system pancreas release their enzyme into duodenum. This is where they release the enzyme into. And the particular location of that injection is called ampulla of Walter. So ampulla of Walter is a junction of three tubes. One is gallbladder, sorry, bile duct. Gallbladder connect with the bile duct, common bile duct. And another junction, is the junction of common bile duct, duodenum, and the pancreatic duct. So that's the junction there. And the things will go through here and flowing into the duodenum. So that's the pancreas. And the next thing is the gallbladder. So gallbladder right here. Gallbladder is the organ is just for storage. Our liver produce bile. So here liver produce bile, produced by the bile, right? The bile produced by liver. Liver produce bile. And then you can see that here, many of these ducts coming from our hepatic cell, the liver cells. Let's just put it that way. Liver cells make it easier. And the liver cell will release those bile. Then they will flow through it. And then some of those will just flow into the duodenum. But the others will go into the gallbladder and store them here. Gallbladder can concentrate our bile, so it can store more, so it's not too diluted. And if it's not careful, we may concentrate it to make it too dry, and then the patient may build up gallstones. Basically, there are stones here, and it will be very painful and also induce tissue damage. And so that is it's an unfortunate thing. There are people that will get the gallbladder removed because of that. And with the gallbladder removal, then the bile will just continue flow into the duodenum directly. It's not going to get stored. So it's not life-threatening for a gallbladder removal. Of course, patient will need to pay more attention about their eating, and because now all these are important for digestion, and so without the gallbladder, then the patient itself themselves need to pay more attention on controlling the timing and the amount of the food that they are eating, particularly the fat that they are eating. It's because the bile is important for fat digestion. Yeah, so I think I have a slide here. Yes. So here is the bile composition. A lot of them are water. And here is the things inside water. So you can see here, bile acids is a primary substrate inside of the bile. Bile acid is very much like a detergent molecule. So it can break the fat apart, make them mixing very well with the inside of the water. So it's easier for us to put them apart. Otherwise, fat tend to glue together because are they are not going to it's just naturally fat cannot be dissolved in the water. So they will just clump together. With the bile, we are able to piece them apart, make them pieces, put them apart. And then that allow the enzyme to work on them and then to do the digestion. So bile is important for fat digestion. So this will be the quiz question, like what does bile do? What does bile digest? Carbohydrates, proteins, fat, etc. All of them, none of them, etc. Right? Bile is for fat digestion. Yeah. So that's that. So let me go back here. So here is just showing you your liver. Liver has a two lobe. I think I have a picture about the liver. And here is the stomach. And then here is small intestine, uh, pancreas, gallbladder. And so here is where the pancreatic enzyme digest all these uh, molecules. Gallbladder release bile is for fat digestion. So at this point, we basically are able to have use all these tools that we can use to digest all these molecules. And then down here, there are some more digestion, but they are very close to be ready for absorption. So that's that. So this bile. This one showing you our small intestine. And so this is the inner lining of the small intestine. So what you can see here is that what you can see here is that it has the this tubule has a wall, and you can see here is that it has muscle in it. So just like every other vessel in our body, they are controlled by smooth muscle. So these are the smooth muscle. You have longitudinal smooth muscle, circular smooth muscle. So they can contrast in order to squeeze the food moving forward, pushing it moving forward. Well, what I want to get your attention is the inner lining. And so you can see that in the inner lining, you have this part. So this part is this part. And so right here, this part. So this part is called uh, plica. And so in that, underneath the plica, you have capillary running through. You have the lymphatic vessel running through, and then once you absorb things in, they will go into your blood circulation and then entering into your body. In addition to that, you can see this one here. So this is the plica, but on the top of each plica, you also have something here. This one is called villi, right here, villi. So this one is a villi. So in each villi, so this one increase the surface area for us to absorb our nutrition. So that's that. So you can see here is a villi. This is major difference between small intestine and the large intestine. Let me show you large intestine. So you have this like spines, like yes. So it's called villi, and each cell has microvilli. So this is the microvilli is on the surface of each cell. This is also called brush border membrane of each epithelium cells. These epithelium cells will absorb food right here, epithelium cells. And so remember, keep in mind that you have this villi here, but let's take a look at the in the plica also plica here and the villi here. Let's take a look at the large intestine. Where is large intestine? Large intestine right here. So you don't see that. You don't see those like turning in and out is pretty flat. You don't see those plica, you don't see villi in the inner lining of large intestine. You have this tube. It's very much here is called crypt. This is equivalent to crypt here. Right here, let me show you small intestine again. Here, crypt. So in large intestine, it has nothing above here. It has only this like a little wheel in their inner surface, but nothing protrude into the luminal space, lumen space. Yeah. So that's that. So that's the unique part. That's a difference, major difference between small and so they are continuous, but their microscopic structure is very different, right? So that's that. So at this point, foods are ready to be absorbed. I want to get your attention on carbohydrates absorption because let me see here. Yes, fat absorption. All right, so that's that. Carbohydrates absorption. So carbohydrates, before they get coated, they are polysaccharides, and through your mouth, it become smaller, but it's not totally monomer yet. And so when they are going to the small intestine, a lot of them are already pretty small, but they are not monomer yet. they are not monosaccharide yet. And here showing you we have 3 disaccharide. So it's 2, it's almost there, but it's not there yet. So they need to be further break apart. So this is maltose, sucrose, lactose. So this blue thing is galactose, this green thing is glucose, this purple thing is called fructose. So let me bring you back to our previous slides right here. Let me show you here, right here. So that's what we see here. Sucrose is a disaccharide, maltose is a disaccharide, lactose is a disaccharide, sucrose is a combination of glucose and fructose. Maltose is a combination of 2 glucose. Lactose is glucose plus a galactose. And so these disaccharides cannot be absorbed because they are not monomer yet. We need to break it apart to become monomer. And that require enzyme. And so that is what I want to show you. Here in the small intestine, before we take them into our body, here is called enterocytes. This enterocytes is just another name of these epithelium cells right here. These epithelium cells, they are the one to allow monomers to enter. So this is also called enterocytes. Yeah, right here, enterocytes. So this nutrition will enter, but before they enter, they need to get broken apart, and they require enzyme. So in the small intestine, in this broad border membrane, it presents the enzyme maltase to break maltose, sucrase to break sucrose, lactase to break lactose. Why am I talking about this here? It's because not everyone has all of these enzymes. And particularly when adults who may lose some of this enzyme, particularly a lack of lactase. So because lactase is the enzyme to break lactose. Now, lactose is commonly seen in the milk, but for baby, they drink milk all the time. But when we start to eat adult food, we don't drink milk that much. So our small intestine will need to produce other enzymes for our adult foods. And so we may not have enough lactase. And for people who do not produce enough lactase, they will not be able to digest lactose. And so lactose will not be broken apart. Lactose will stay in the small intestine, and then it will get transported down the way to the large intestine. And even though we cannot digest them, in the large intestine, we have bacteria inside of our large intestine. They will eat it, they will use it, and they may cause the disturbance into our stomach, not stomach, into our large intestine, and people may feel uncomfortable there, and so that's called the lactose intolerance. That's because of the lack of the lactase in their small intestine. So that's that. So after that, we finish all the digestion. Things can enter into our body. This is called absorption. And just want to get your attention is that where do they go to? They will go to liver. We will touch on this very soon. So all our nutrition will go into liver. So when they enter into our body, they are not free to go everywhere. They will enter into liver. So that's that. And also amino acids, that's the monomer, they will also get entered into our body. We will absorb the amino acids. and uh, and so yeah, they will also enter into our body. Fat will also enter into our body through bile. We can break these fat droplets or large portion into smaller one. This process is mixing the fat into the fluid. It's called emulsion. Let me go back to here. That's the bile. That's what bile do. Let me show you here. I think I have it here. Here. Able to emulsification of fat. So basically break down the fat. So fat is not, isolated from water. They are now able to mix in the water. Yeah. Then this fat, because fat is a fat, so cell membrane is also fat. So fat can freely diffuse, enter into a body, and then when they enter into a body, our cells will package them in our Golgi apparatus. Lipids can be packed to form a, a, a particle. This particle is called chylomicron. Then this chylomicron enter into our body. They will get transport into the lacteal. This lacteal is a lymphatic vessel. Let me show here. So they will enter into this lymphatic vessel, and then it will also get transport back to our body. So that's the fat absorption. So that's that. So by then we have everything digested. So following that is absorption. We absorbed it already. Absorption is by the small intestine. And then after that, small intestine has brought transport, capture all this nutrition. They are not going to go to any other place except the liver. All these will get transport into the liver. Liver is the next step after the nutrition enter into our body. So here showing you and this is called hepatic portal system. Portal like USPS, right? United States Post. So it's not portal. Yeah, port is like port, like airport. Let's put it this way. Yes. So it's not post. It's port. Yeah. So, so it's like a port is like airport, is where the transport will dock, right? Like stay before they enter into that country or that area. Yeah. So this is when all these nutrients enter into the body, they will get ducked into the liver. So this is portal system. Let's take a look at this vessel. So here is all this vessel coming from your large intestine and small intestine. What I want to get your attention is this vessel. This vessel is called hepatic portal vein. So the hepatic portal veins direct blood from the capillary of the digestive organ or the small intestines to liver. And so that's that. So where the absorbed nutrition are processed. Why do we need to process this nutrition before our body use it? It's because you can eat a lot of things. A lot of things become monomers will enter into your body. And those a lot of things, including processed food. And so you need liver to detoxify these chemicals. And so that's very important. You don't want your body just immediately get exposed to those chemicals. You want your liver to protect you. Yeah. Liver also do several other things, but yeah, so that's that. Yeah. All right. So let me see. Let me show you liver. So here is the the liver. So what I want to get your attention here is that liver receive two blood input. So you can see that this is the portal vein that we talk about. However, in addition to that, you also have the artery coming from the aorta. So coming from the aorta, here you have the branch. Aorta provide your organ with oxygenized blood. And so this blood is one to provide the oxygen for your liver cells to survive, to live. And so that's that. However, in addition to that, you also have another one. This is coming from the small intestine. This one doesn't provide you the oxygen because you know this blood coming from another organ. So the oxygen has been used by small intestine. So this one doesn't really have oxygen. However, this one is not for your liver to survive. This is for liver to process the things that you just eat, you just absorb. And so that is that. So here is two entrance, two blood entering into the liver. You have the portal vein. You also have the liver artery, hepatic artery right here, hepatic artery entering to it. Once your things get processed, oxygen is used, then the blood will drain by the hepatic veins, enter into vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava. This one will transport blood back to your right atrium. So that's that liver circulation. Another thing you also need to know is that liver has two lobes. Let me show here. Liver has two lobes. Liver has a right lobe. That is when we look at the picture, we are very much looking at the patient. So patient is sitting before you. And so this is the patient's right. So that's the right side. This is patient's left. This is the left side. And here is a separation. This is called falciform ligament. This one separate left and right lobe of the liver. Liver is very is known for regeneration. Almost the only organ that has very powerful regeneration capacity is the liver. Yeah, liver has many functions. The one that we talk about is process these nutritions. It also do the detoxification. Just if there's any chemicals, they will process it to make them become less toxic in the body. Like you drink alcohol, right? Like if you drink alcohol, alcohol will go into the small intestine, get absorbed, and then when they get absorbed, they will get transported into liver. Liver is one to detoxify these alcohol. So alcohol is a toxin. I know people drink it. I would suggest don't drink it. You just increase the working load for your liver to detoxify it. Yeah. Bile production, we just know that liver can produce bile and then store it into the gallbladder. Nutrition metabolization. So that's the liver's function. So after entering into the small intestine, then it will continue to the large intestine. So here is the large intestine. You have in the beginning, this area is called cecum. CAECUM is called cecum. Cecum has a little bit thing down here. It's called appendix. Appendix is not really any major digestion role. The food will continue moving to this direction. It will go into column. So here is the column. You have the ascending column. You have the transverse column, and you have the descending column. Uh, this is the ileum. So you have small intestine has the jejunum. I forgot. Let me double check. Small intestine has three portion: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. So the very last portion is called ileum. And then here, the ileum will then enter into the cecum right here. Ileum will enter into the cecum through the ileocecal bulb. And yeah, so then going through the cecum, enter to the ascending column, turn to transverse column, turn to descending column, and then through the sigmoid column, like S shape, then rectum, then anal, then feces poop out. So what is the function of the large intestine? The major function is to absorb the remaining fluid, and so we get the water out of it. When we absorb water, all these ions will also come along with the water, get absorbed into our body. Uh, uh, it's yes, I, or sometimes we call it electrolyte, but I think it's ion. So here is the and then forming feces and poop it out. So that's a main role. Large intestine has a segment. Cecum is a very beginning. It's only pouch-like structure receiving digesting from the small intestine. Then it go along with the ascending column, transverse column, descending column, sigmoid column, and the rectum. Yeah, rectum connect with the anus here, anus, and then poop things out. So that's that. You need to know this labeling though. If we have a question about this one, you need to know the name of this. Yeah. Not this is less important, but this you need to know the the these major segments of the large intestine and also their sequence, right? Yeah. So that's that. So here is the inner lining of the large intestine. We went through this one earlier. What you can see here is that there's no villi, there's no uh, there's no villi. I just should show you this is small intestine. You have this is villi. This is the right here. Right here. Where is that? Here. What is that? Yeah, this is villi. Yes. So and this is called plica right here. Plica. So in the large intestine, you see none of this. You see none of this. Yeah, so that is relatively flat. Yeah. So that's large intestine. So here again, um, the large intestine has the different segments here showing you a different color. So that's what you also need to know. And when we can also observe that the large intestine has this pouch-like appearance. It's called haustra. And in addition, we have this smooth muscle band go along with this large intestine is called tenine. So this is the reason that when these smooth muscle contrast, then they will squeeze or shortening the large intestine and make them have this pouch-like structure. And so that is large intestine. You can also see that you have this smooth muscle and forming uh, the large intestine wall. Yeah, so that's large intestine. The function of the large intestine is to absorb water, ions, and you can also people also call it electrolytes, but electrolyte basically is referred to the sodium, potassium, those ions. Large intestine has a lot of bacteria, so that's what you need to know. Because here is the let me show you here the picture here. Let me show you this picture. So go back to here, go back to here, go back to here. So here you can see that this one has opening to outside world, and so things, bacteria can coming in. When they coming in, they love it because they don't need to fight for the food. You will eat it. You will make it smoothie. You will not absorb all of them. Then they can eat those. So that is uh, you have a lot of bacteria here in the column. And this bacteria, we have more bacteria than our human cells. So we have a lot of these bacteria. So this bacteria will produce important nutrition for our body to use. We are not going to talk all of those, but one thing you need to know that it produces vitamin K. Vitamin K can produce. We can get vitamin K from your green leafy vegetables, but you can also get those from gut bacteria. Large intestine storage and produced in the feces, and it also control the bowel movement. So it's good to have a regular bowel movement, have a feces production. That is very important for your health. Yeah. So that's that. So this is the last slide. So this summarize everything we talk about. The digestion, it coming from your mouth all the way into the anal, and we now know all each different organs, how do they connect to each other, and what's their function. This one summarize the timing of the digestion. Things going to your mouth only take minutes. Esophagus takes seconds. Stomach is the main area that you store the food. After the meal, if it's watering, if it's liquid, it quickly go into the small intestine and get absorbed. Like juice, it takes only minutes. You will have the sugar in your blood. But if it's meal, if it's solid, it will take hours. So you can see the difference. Like you eat the bread, it takes hours. And so those sugar will take time into your body, so you don't have sugar rush in your blood. It's good for your body. So drinking juice is bad for your body. I want to make it clear, it's bad for your body. So don't drink juice. You'd rather just eat fruit because fruit is solid. It takes time for you to digest. So you still get the nutrition, but you don't have this surge. Um, After that, you will gradually release those into the small intestine and then absorb them, and then large intestine and poop it out. And so by 4 hours, by the end of the 4 hours, you probably will empty everything in your stomach. And then you will feel hungry again. Then you have the second meal, something like that. And then things will get absorbed in your small intestine. It also take a couple hours. Large intestine take about up to like 10 hours and more. And so you will generate feces like almost like next day. And so you have you should have like daily or twice a day, not twice a day, every other day you should have some feces. It will keep this tra traffic smooth. Yeah, so that's that. All right, let me know if you have any questions, and that's the digestive system. I will see you next time. Bye bye.